switch it up. I'm on.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, much more efficient and effective. You're welcome.
Order. Got scooted in.
I'm actually saving that for a friend. My friend Tracy's getting over. Sorry about that.
Oh, well.
What's the light?
You turn your light off.
Hey.
Right.
You have a great.
Nobody's doing that to you.
Why, you don't like it?
Yeah, I don't like having a light shine in my face.
I have an 88 condition. If you look at my eye, so if you want to play around, don't shine lights in my eye.
Fine, in the back, sit down.
If you want to play around, we can get there.
Okay, not a problem,
You
buddy.
need to make sure you understand what this man up here is doing. Playing around with his fucking light.
Say, well, you don't like it? Yeah, man, nobody likes having a light shine in their face. Who did that to you, asshole? What's that? Well, what's that, man?
If you guys want to start using profanity, you can just leave.
Oh, I'll
This isn't the kind of place.
Actually, I can say fuck, cunt, shit, piss, and all that.
I just want it to be civil.
It can be civil.
As he's shining a light in our face, you're worried about language being civil. He's just shining a light in our eyeball.
Okay.
Huh?
It was a phone.
That's not a flashlight? That's a flashlight. Okay, asshole. Okay. You gonna have me removed?
No.
Don't start correcting the word choices because then you're out of bounds.
I'm not playing it bounds right now.
You're out of
You have
bounds
to be
trying
in
to correct
bounds.
people's
You
word
have to be in
choices.
bounds.
I can do that.
Motherfucker, you have to
I
be
can
in
most
bounds.
certainly do that.
No.
You think you have the lawful authority?
No, I just asked you to be polite, that was all.
No, you didn't. That's not
And
what
was there
we're
anything
You
required
said we're
lawful?
gonna
Was
start
there
using
anything
profanity,
polite
you're
about
gonna
that?
have us
Was there
leave.
anything polite about that line?
Right, so can you talk to them like children then?
Who did I go?
Us, motherfucker, saying that we had to talk a certain way or we're out of here.
I just say it.
You clearly said that to us. We're out of here. I don't care.
Let's see, Christmas or Jack.
You're the language police as well, sir? Okay, then toughen it up a little bit. Toughen it up.
Basically, you probably ought to just sit back and shut up.
Alliance, right? KCMA.
I could do that, Joyce.
I mean, I'm just suggesting until there's a law broken, because that's where your role comes in.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
don't want to hear it.
Well, then,
We don't wanna hear it either, man.
Okay, perfect.
We don't wanna hear
if
it
you
either.
don't wanna hear it,
This
that's the
clock is
unfortunate
off, by
part
the way.
about being out in
It's
public. There's things that
8:56.
happen that you don't have to hear.
It's off by about 3 minutes.
Are we on the agenda here, deputy clerk?
Yes.
Thank you. You guys gonna remove us again?
You probably ought to ask Todd, he's the one that organizes all that.
Todd, you gonna remove us again from the agenda?
Just like to have everybody put their name on here so that I can spell it properly for my minutes. Please.
The only people that should be included in the minutes are the people that are included in the meeting.
Would you like to sign? Okay. Good job.
903.
Yours says 903?
Yep.
So does mine. Mine's fine.
How did you?
903. Wonder that on there.
Might be.
Same here. We stand for the
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Road business at 9:15.
Mr. Chairman, I checked with the Register of Deeds this morning, Mr. Speeds. Did I pronounce it correctly for you? Is that pronounced correctly? And Mr. Arabdi do not own land in Jackson County. Therefore, I'm going to ask that you remove from the agenda. Second that.
I'll second.
We
Yeah.
do though, that's not correct, we do though.
I'll
Yes.
second that. All
Hold on.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So
I have proof of it right here.
If it's not registered in the Register of Deeds officer, it doesn't.
Sir, land leases are not registered in the Register of Deeds office.
You're setting up for a lawsuit, guys, I'm telling
We
you.
have effective land leases in
This
this
is called
county of
discrimination,
Jackson.
prior restraint.
You cannot remove us from this agenda.
So nice try.
what's next? Road bridge is coming at 9:15. We got a lot of rain to settle the dust.
So you're gonna ignore the land leases.
We have a right to be heard.
I don't believe, did a vote actually occur? And Todd, you're just gonna ignore the land leases that we have?
You gonna call for vote?
I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we pay taxes on the land, so we're taxpaying citizens here.
The bills.
That's interesting.
in our lives.
This is the
You can defend the rights of the citizens or not.
I'll talk to you when I'm out there. I'll be right back.
It's on there.
No, I'm still.
Yeah. I thought this was.
this week.
In Royal Valley, we gave $5,000 there.
Yeah.
It didn't come out of education.
It comes out of Parks and Rec.
I'm having a hard time hearing. Yeah, I can hardly hear over the noise in that.
So you have to stand up for our rights. As citizens of the county, have a land please. Door has to stay open.
Thank you.
The door is open.
Be careful there.
The door is open, sir.
Okay. Hi, Al. Lots of paperwork today. Yeah. You want the bills? Or half of them? Or do you like Jackson County Ministerial Alliance, when Joyce comes in, they'll be asking, I think, for food. Let's see. Well, she was specific, we'll know, I guess, what's this here. We made it do it last year, you see? Recording records. Yeah, right. Okay. She'll tell us. Okay. Sorry?
Aaron's the one upstairs and she's busy with.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'll do the easy thing we can do now, and that's the change orders, abatement on property. Same family here.
I knew it too. I think you're a rough handle. What was it? Love you until you see it or when you miss one?
Yeah, he told me over the weekend.
Well, that was a pretty cool name, but I never did. Exams, yeah.
Alright.
It didn't stick.
This is their,
My sister's last name.
this is the rule that they just passed to try to keep us out here in the first place. And you could have called something like change.
Oh,
And then we also have special alcohol tax fund that is for education, that she,
Well, that is the Parks and Rec money, it's from the alcohol tax.
well, there's a separate line item here.
So you're not gonna do it.
Yeah, it's split.
So we have $36,000 roughly. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Good morning.
How y'all doing?
All right, and you?
Great. Wonderful.
She's gone.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just push the button and it should be on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. You bet it down too, I think.
Morning.
So did you, understand where I was talking about on that RV fire? Okay. Okay, no, I just wanna make sure that, you know, you just right, you've seen the burn grass, so, it looks like it's out on the road for a ways.
Speaking of which, the fire out along the highway, did you ever hear what caused that? Was a cigarette thrown out? That's what I thought. That's because it kind of felt that way, seeing it started right there by the road and go up the bank. Anyway, go ahead. Scott.
The doors out here that we got put inside the building are just about complete, got a little wiring to do and the ceiling up, on the outside and the inside there, Holton Recorder did that. We went to a management workshop, last week, Linda and I did. Very good class to go to. Highly recommend it. Anybody that deals with people, manages people, go to that class. Talked to Matt with Sam Spur last week on the GPS deal, and they have communicated with Uni now. Start program, things are looking very positive there. Getting those forms to their system and talk to her system. So,
Okay.
she's pretty excited about that also. The information I sent out to the fire marshal for our tanks, there's an issue down at the hoist strip, so I can get with that. I just had email this morning, so I haven't had a chance to get into it.
Okay.
So, I'll see what that's all about. And then that was about it from my side.
As far as the management workshop, do you think it would be a good idea for Matt and, Darlene to go to this also?
Yes.
Then when are they having another?
I'd have to dig into it.
Okay.
So we just went last Tuesday, so.
And who else would be,
I'd say anybody that manages people.
so out of Road and Bridge, who would that be? Darlene, Matt, Brandon?
Brandon, I don't think it was her name.
Yeah, Brandon and, Bryson.
Okay, yeah, and Bryson.
But I was, well, you know, any other county employees too.
Sure.
To do management.
Okay. We can suggest that to the,
Department heads.
to the department heads, and we've got a department head meeting coming up on the 18th, so can I hang on to this?
Yes.
Okay, and that way I'll make a note to speak about that at the department head meeting. Let's see, what else was I gonna ask you? That was it. All right, perfect, thank you.
All right, so last week, we finished up rocking K 94 to 110th, that is now complete. 286 P to O, and 158 A to A4. We did 2 services, got the rear end back in truck 0518, and they are still working on 517.
Is that the one with the water
Those
in the
were,
block?
yes,
Okay.
those were the both that we had rebuilt. 02 replacement, 02 washings. We did minimum maintenance signs in area 7, 8, and 11. We ditched, all the way from the city limits now of Holton heading north, and we are up to 286. This week I'm hoping to rock raining, for us to get back out and go. 158 A to C and 286 O to P, 2 services planned, and then minimum maintenance signs being replaced in area 9 and 10. And this morning they are putting the snow equipment in and making sure that the spreaders are all working and that all of our plows are working correctly and all that. We're still having a few IT issues. We are unable to pass. Bryson can't print and he's having trouble really working it all together on his computer.
So have you put in a ticket and?
No, we have not, because Jennifer said she hasn't felt like she's had all day to talk to him on the phone, and so, she
Okay.
said she would be doing that as soon as she could.
Perfect.
So yes, we are working on that. They talked to Robin Cottle Friday evening, and so worked out kind of what he was looking for. He never had relayed to me what he really wanted.
Right.
And so, it's not really a ditching issue, come to find out he wants the road to ground back in it so that it'll run off of it. So, anyway, I'm gonna go out and look at it this morning and see how it looks after we've had all this rain.
Yeah.
But he says his words will become inverted and
Sure.
I knew you had called me in regards to that, so I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yep.
Anything else for you, Dan?
Of course. Yeah, when I was in the county in the south end, east end, I got to thinking about rename Z Road, Zallen Road, because it's Allen and Atchison County, Z in Jackson County. Looks good. Down south, other roads, on the reservation too. Things are looking really good and settled in. The dust is no longer there, fortunately. But,
Yes.
pass along to your crew that I think they're doing a great job at getting
Okay.
things done. Not a lot of washouts. I don't know, have you seen any washouts? That's one of the questions I was gonna have. Any place around where it rained pretty hard east, like 4 inches or so. Some parts, that where I'm from, that
Right.
part of the county.
Right.
So,
I'm sure there's workshops.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna be getting
Yeah.
calls on them.
I'm sure we will.
up the hill,
Yeah,
yeah, but
I'm sure we will.
things look good. We were out last week quite a bit, so.
Okay.
Yep. And I went out and drove yesterday. I was out, actually I drove up Deer Run and, what we've talked about before. I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
Neither.
I mean, it's the way it's washing out on the side of the road and everything. I just don't know what we're gonna do with it. But, we'll figure something out. Pass on to everyone, once again, I think I told you last week, or tell you on the phone when I talked to you about the, old highway. It looks wonderful. I drove it yesterday. There was no water standing, no water crossing. I did see up, and I wanna say it was up by Jim Dodson's or right in there, maybe the house is just to the south there, that rental.
I don't
That
know what
too.
Jim Dobson lives on.
Okay, he's the farthest one between 246 and 254 on the east side of the road. He's the farthest one, then the house back to the south, I believe that it was that too, it's gonna be washed because the water standing and not going to too. So,
Okay.
it's flow. But other than that, like I say, I'm impressed with what it looks like. I think you guys did a hell of a good job, so, keep it up. Pass that on to everybody, please. Great.
Right away,
New entrance.
new entrance.
Down on 102.
Okay. Everything you approve
Yeah.
of? Okay, I'll let Mark look at it too. Is he building a house?
It says new construction.
Okay.
All ahead on this.
Okay.
Are the new doors in the shop
Yes.
on the side?
Yes. There's a bulkhead roll-up door and then a walk-in door.
And you want to put his entrance right there by the pond that you see him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
We
You
will do
guys
so.
looked at it, you're good with it? That's great.
got plenty of rock, you think, for the rest of the year, you okay?
Mid-states, yeah,
Yeah.
is there,
Okay.
Troy, come by, Watson, over there, with, solar down here. He said they probably be crushing until second week of December.
Really show it's so it's crushed.
Yeah,
And when they crush more.
that's, I think that's key right there, see, if you
More.
can't get them to crush.
Because we've been at it since July,
Yeah,
I wanna say.
yeah, I think I'd have to talk to them, see if we can get them to crush more when they're in there.
I didn't when we were there.
Okay. All right.
Anything from us? Anything from us? Nothing. Okay, thank you. Scott, you're welcome. Todd, you wanna take over early?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Can I still pen?
You got one?
Give me some pen so far.
There you go.
Okay, so we signed this in January.
Yes, I just wanted you to look it over.
Okay, thank
See
you.
what it looks like.
Sure.
And it looks fine to me.
Alright, yeah. Likewise.
Okay, a couple of bookkeeping items or status. We talked about the sheriff has that tower agreement thing he's looking at. I was given like an email, I think it was to the sheriff about where they can find the form agreements, which are leases. And I actually tried to track it down, but I couldn't because I don't have an account with them. And I don't want to create a dummy account. So, if it's all right, I'm just gonna go back to the sheriff and ask him to, and to have somebody on maybe the Motorola side. They probably are better able, it's Motorola, right?
Yeah, look.
They're better able to, probably the draft.
Yeah, I think it'd be just fine.
Yeah.
It's just that it's kind of, it looked like you could go to it on their website, but actually you can't, so. Hand this out.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Sorry, I didn't make enough copies for everybody, so if you.
Thank you.
Hand them around, please. This is, kind of the, it wouldn't be the final version, but it's the amendment that would be done to the zoning code to add family burial plot, family cemetery. The only addition to what we had before was, there at the very bottom of the page, E6, no site shall be larger than 1/4 acre. Procedure of this is that this is actually drafted for the planning commission. So if it's good to go, we'll get to the planning commission and they can hash it out and see if they wanna approve it. And if they don't, then we'll figure out what they wanna do, and if they do, then maybe we'll see. That would be you don't have to act on this is just a FYI, so you know.
Yep, I think that's great.
Process.
Let's get it to them and see what they say.
Yeah, I don't think they meet till December, is that right?
Yeah, I don't believe they have anything this month. So that'd be plenty of time to get that published and get it out there and go.
And we need to get a copy to Kate too, I believe, so she can put this in.
Yeah, and I'll
Okay.
I'll email it to Kate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So
perfect.
she can put everything on there that needs to be on.
I find my cemetery file here.
Where is the cemetery file buried?
Mile worth of oaths. I used to be a note taker. I've gone through all these pens in the last 4 years.
Yeah, okay, so, next up, solar regs. I guess we got somebody on the agenda maybe, but, I think what we were focusing on last time was more of a, kind of an explanation legally of some things that I think have been brought up before, which is your concern about how the county gets some kind of compensation or, has an interest that they're compensated for in allowing this use to go forward on a large scale basis. And what we talked about is there's other counties that have what are called, contribution agreements.
Donations, country, yes.
Yeah, well, we had an example in the file, I think B got it, which was a contribution agreement between Nemaha County and another entity, which was a wind project, but it was a big wind project, so it was, the same kind of deal, because, and this is all just kind of background information more than anything, is that there is a state statute, and that's in the taxation code, which is KSA 79201. And one of those subdivisions is, it's called, they don't do A, B, and C, they do 11, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 11. And it basically says that if you had a kind of basically a renewable energy utilization project or such before December 31st, 2016, and filed an application for an exemption on a conditional use permit, and that was granted. Now, what happens after that, basically after December 31st, 2016, they file, the owner files an exemption, and they get it for 10 years. I think the idea was that originally it was basically permanent. So now it's only for a period of 10 years. So essentially once, timing is important, that once they build it according to the, whatever grant they have, they would then apply through the county and to the state Board of Tax Appeals for an exemption based upon this provision, and presumably would get it for 10 years. And so obviously for the period of that 10-year period, the counties would see no tax effect at all.
And then after that 10 years, then it would be taxable at the, utility rate?
Well, I guess Kate would probably have to answer how she would do that. I think it's a commercial use, and she would have to assess herself about what the basis of that is. I don't know that she just has some uniform taxation that may fit the bill here, because I think the value of the property is probably a question, but in any case, it's zero for this function of 10 years.
Yeah.
No matter what, it could have been 3 million, but it's zero. So these contribution agreements, the contribution agreement that was in the file was interesting because it was basically a 30 years, because it was approved apparently before 2016. The permit was approved before 2016, so they argued that they had the kind of forever version of the exemption. So fair enough, whatever that may be, but the argument probably would be is that you guys have got a 10-year window here where that would be appropriate, because after that they would be not entitled to any abatement unless the legislature does something else.
And that would be strictly on the payment in lieu of taxes program, but not on the resiliency or anything like that, correct?
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm on basics right now. We're
Right,
not
yeah,
even
yeah,
pilots.
yeah.
We're just saying, what happens property tax wise from kind of day one of the operation of that to future?
But the resiliency that I'm talking about would be for the, fire departments, things like that, to keep up with everything that, you know, new equipment, things like that we had talked about.
Yeah, and that's,
So-
yeah, there's nothing that would impose, to my mind, any type of levy of that nature. You know,
Yeah.
first, just to say, the county has imposed this, this fee for whatever.
Right.
And then, do you have a statutory basis for that? I haven't looked at that, but I don't think so, because one of the provisions of that contribution agreement was specifically that they just gave an amount of money to the fire department, which might have been, however that's couched, you wanna call it resiliency fund, you wanna call it whatever, it is what it is, so, that's part, it could be part of the agreement, it's just not, I don't know that you guys have the independent authority to create.
Well, and that's, I believe,
We can
honestly, I
ask.
believe that we do,
Yeah.
just simply due to the fact that, that would be, the payment in lieu of taxes, I understand that as far as having a timeline on it, okay? The resiliency fund, I don't see that would be anything other than what we negotiate after the, special use permit is issued. Or before it's issued, because that way, they might not want to go with, whoever might not want to go with the terms that we lay out.
Yeah.
Which is fine and dandy, it's up to them. Like I've always said, if they can't live within the terms of what we have laid out in our regulations, then they can go on down the road.
I kind of drew a pattern of a baseball field of the 4 buckets, basically, or bases that I think we should ask for. And we've all talked about it, so we all agree. Resiliency is one, training EMS, training the emergency management, hospitals and fire departments as well. You have money set aside for that. Also, the pilot donation is really different, but it also includes in the bucket list of what we want. Much like Nemaha County has with the energy company up there, they get what they call a donation of $1.25 million for, I think, 30 years. Then, of course, the road use, because they're going to use our roads, we have to have money set aside for that. And then finally, decommissioning. And there's a lot of questions I have too on this. Even though there was a moratorium on taxes through the state of Kansas, what happens to that on the 11th year? Is that equipment the owners, the energy company's owners, are they taxed on it? Or is it the land owners? I don't know that answer because we're not privy to what's going on with the landowners, but
Yeah.
much like a lot of things in equipment and business, electronics after 5 years is considered depreciated out.
Yeah.
So you got $1 million worth of product here, and after 10 years, it's only worth 50. So I don't know how it's going to work. I'm curious about that as well.
Well, the answer probably is that, the ownership is gonna be the one who would be first looked at, because whatever, the owner of the property, is still, you could say, well, they're not, using it themselves for solar, but they're basically renting it, so they're like a landlord, they're renting property and they're getting income from the tenant, hopefully, and that tenant income is probably an element of what's computed into the value of the property. It's not like they take, $300 a month and they say, okay, 300, blah, 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 they just say, okay, well, this property overall as a rental property is worth X, and I'm sure they can take into account that this is a commercial rental of that kind of nature. And I understand, and this is, basically, it's not from an examination of the tenant agreement, the landlord-tenant agreements between a company and the owner, but they essentially agreed to pay taxes. The user, the leaseholder, however they are couched in terms, that agreement says that if the taxes go up or the taxes are imposed, that the solar company pays, and so that basically the landowner really has no skin in that game at the end of the day.
Well, and I was just gonna say, I have I've made privy to a lease agreement that is no longer in effect. that's not in this county. And that one specifically says, a leasing shall pay or reimburse owner for any increase in real property taxes levied against the property as a result of such installations or attributable to reclassification of the property. So the property owner is not going to be, in this case, is not going to be on the hook for any increase in property taxes anyway. I believe that's what you were asking, correct?
Yeah, one of them, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
So I mean, for this one here, I don't know what the ones here in Jackson County are, but for this one here,
Yeah.
it's specifically spelled out there, so.
And you could presume that's in, that's in the agreement because that's important, but, I mean, that's really not our duty to police those in any particular way, it's just an understanding of the fact that it's still, probably the fault that the owner, who is still of record with the register of deeds, is the one who's going to get contacted about all taxation, get assessments and all that,
Yeah.
and the notices and all that. So, as you expect. So I think that's taken care of. And just to kind of go back to kind of bedrock here, there is statutory provisions about these things. And I did looking just to say, what's your legal basis? Because there's a little bit of, I don't know, you wouldn't want it to be a situation where you are necessarily granting special use permits based upon money.
No.
Okay, but
No.
this is, there's a series of statutes. This is KSA 12-147. Says tax subdivisions authorized to enter into agreements with owners of tax exempt property for payments and other taxes. So every taxing subdivision of the state of Kansas is hereby authorized and empowered to enter into contracts for payment of service charges and lieu of taxes with the owner or owners of property which is exempt from the payment of ad valorem taxes under the laws of the state of Kansas and is further authorized to receive and expend revenue resulting therefrom in the manner hereafter provided. There's two other related statutes which basically say,
Scott, could you leave that door open, please?
Sure.
the restrictions are essentially that you gotta treat it like a regular taxing fund input, meaning it's like general revenue, it goes into the general fund, and you guys have budgetary authority over that number, but it's not like it's in a separate account, or goes to somebody else, it just goes like you would a tax receipt goes into the general fund. So, there's probably some rules in there about if this were a joint county thing, maybe they would have to provide it, and that you'd have to do a joint agreement. But it's obviously statutory allowed. There's a couple of Attorney General's opinions about this that basically say what you expect, that this is, if you follow the statute and you can do pilots in Kansas. And basically, again, it's not required. That's kind of the key is the fact that you guys can't force it. It's just a matter of whether or not there's an agreement in place. And those are deemed to be contractual payments to the county. They aren't deemed to be, a tax as traditionally understood.
Mm-hmm.
So, the wild card being what happens with the legislature, and do they change up things on you or whatever, we can't tell. But right now, as it stands, of the things that you have listed on your baseball example, we have decommissioning protection in the sense of the regs themselves require a fund for decommissioning. Now, there's probably something to be said for the fact that, nobody's ever 100% accurate about what those numbers are going to be 10, 20 years down the line. So, hit or miss, this money could go to that too if necessary. But you've at least got, that really isn't necessary for the pilot to cover, hopefully.
Well, and when you speak on that, that is one reason that we've always said that every 3 years it will be revisited, that number will be revisited, and, there will be a to actually increase that and grow that fund all the way through. Because we don't want to come up with a number at the start and say, this is it, it's all good forever. That's why we said, every 3 years revisit that, and whatever inflation is, take the average inflation, however you want to do it. We talk about that and figure out how the best way to come up with that is, but that initial number is not gonna be the number that's gonna be at the end of the 25-year period or 30-year period, whenever the decommissioning starts.
I'm trying to figure out, I've got that, I don't remember.
Or was it every year that we calculated 3 to 4% on?
Well, we talked about that
Yeah.
for, I don't know if that was for the resiliency fund or if that was for the decommissioning, how we ever came up with it. But I just want to make sure that was still on, that we were talking about that, is how we were going to grow that number in the escrow account.
Yeah, it says the bond or other, this is version 2.
Yeah.
Section 14, insurance and bonding. C3, the bond or other financial security shall include a mechanism, and I know we're trying to get away from bonding, but.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Shall include a mechanism for adjustment over the life of the project. Bond, financial security shall be adjusted for inflation annually. Solar facility operator shall engage the third-party reclamation contractor to recalculate the estimated cost of decommissioning at an interval of every 3 years.
Okay.
And every year, the final 5 years of the site. So, yeah. So, when you got the best you can, that's covered. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to figure out the best way we can to cover everything, and, like I said before, I'm sure we'll leave something out, but, we're trying to cover all our bases.
Yeah.
One thing, Todd, that one of the commissioners up in Lincoln County told me, who was against solar or wind or anything, he said, look, as well as our compliance officer up there said, do not allow any energy company to utilize the product as part of any payment for decommissioning, such as if there's silver, do not allow them to recycle that and then to use that money to pay.
Okay, so it's like security instead of money, right? Because what they would do
Yes,
is they say
yes.
that the products of the
Yeah.
decommissioning
And not be used because
Yeah.
allegedly there's, I don't know, I've heard there's aluminum, I heard there's silver, and we all know there's glass and everything, but, or some type of glass, but do not use silver to recycle it and then pay for a portion.
So I think when you kind of get to the bottom of your bases, the one base is covered by the permit. The other 3 are where the pilot agreement would come in, which would be your resiliency fund, because I don't think that's, as I recall, I don't think that's in.
Yeah, well, it was suggested by an engineer that reached out to me and said, when you guys, if you're doing this, you need to have a resiliency, which includes emergency management, all medical as well as fire, and have knowledge of that, and maybe even the schools that they would know this is out here, this is what we have, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think probably the trick is, understanding what you guys want and where it goes, it probably is the case that the state statute would say, well, that's very nice, but if there's a pilot agreement that's according to the statute, then it's all got to go into the general fund.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that you don't say, in some legislative form, here's the, $300,000 we got this year. It's in the budget, but we're giving $100,000 to the fire, $100,000, blah, 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 $100,000 just to general. So I don't want to get to the idea that you yourselves can kind of legislatively bind another commission to how that money is divvied up.
Well, it can go into the general fund, but there can also be a line item in the general fund for resiliency fund.
Yeah, and that's,
And so that, you know,
yeah.
it goes into the general fund, gets moved over there, and then that would be spent for, the things that we have listed out in there, can only be spent for those things.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's that legislative control, like
Yeah.
I'm saying, is the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is though, that, you know, 5 years from now, a different commission could say, well, you know,
Yeah.
we want it all to go to whatever, and they can do it.
Yep.
And you guys can't prevent it at this level. So, you know, that's, I think the agreement, it is, I'm interested to see how they can call the guys in Nemaha County to figure out, because they did do a separate $80,000 fire district that they can pay. Now, I don't know if that is to, if they had, because the fire district's the fire district, it's a quasi-municipal, you know, fire district, so it doesn't necessarily have some budget, as I recall it, right? So, so I think what they, you know, basically the way I remember it is that, you know, your taxes are divided up, and county's top line, and then, you know, improvement district X, fire district X,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get little pieces, but that money goes to them as what you guys give them. So, is the beneficiary of the pilot, the discrete fire districts that are going to be affected by this, and if they are, you know.
And that's, yeah, that'd be something to look into, because if it is, then that would mean that 5 years from now, if a different commission sitting here, then it wouldn't matter, it would still be going to the fire districts, which is
Yeah.
where it was intended to go in the first place.
So you guys.
Well, I mean,
you have
it could be
fire
like
districts everywhere. in
Union
the
fire,
country.
soldier fire, you know, things like that, that's.
7 of them maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
but there's no county fire at all.
No,
City
it's separate,
fire district.
they're separate,
Yeah.
but they come together though, and work together. But they're taxed differently, I believe.
Well, I think that's, yeah, but these guys don't control the purse.
No.
They don't budget. that
No,
way.
no.
Yeah, that's, I understand the county collects, but here's the collection. So, I think that's what the focus, I guess, is on this side of it being, you know, when we're talking about the solar zoning regs, the only base covered on that is the decommission. Everything else you're gonna put in there, I mean, I think that's probably some deep thinking that needs to be done here, because, like I said, the amount that's going to the county in this agreement is going to the county. If there's an independent body, like a fire district, quasi-municipal entity, that obtains tax revenue but is not budgeted by you, that is affected by this. So I don't know where on that, EMS, probably attached to fire district, right?
Actually, the emergency management has an umbrella that works with all of them. EMS as well as fire, they all belong to the local emergency planning committee. It could be set up like that. I love their
Yeah, so
boards.
maybe we need to get Pat in
Yeah,
here
because
and
we
talk
can
about
do it that way.
whenever we get closer on that.
Well,
talk
this is
that.
about, yeah, and I think the coordination, maybe collective agreements they may have for managing things is somewhat different than the governmental legal organization and bodies themselves. I mean, you know, there's a difference between a fire district itself and the city fire department. You know, the city fire department is the city, and the city budgets, there's no independent fire department. The fire district is independent, it doesn't really answer in any real respect to anybody but themselves, like a benefit district or water district or whatever. So, you know, that's, you kinda gotta take that as being the dividing line from my perspective is that you guys will have, you know, total control of whatever portion of that comes into the county budget. But at the agreement level, it has to split it probably at that quasi-municipal organizational level to make sure that it gets who you want, or how you want that to go. And I don't know if there's any, whether you need to have them in on the pilot agreement itself too, or we have two, because now you're talking about how many different entities sign on.
So what I'm looking at here is, Jackson County 2023 tax levies for the 24 budget, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fire districts. And out of that, let's see, I'm gonna say probably 3 of those, I'm gonna guess, I'd have to look at a map, township map to double check, but I'm gonna say 3 of them, maybe 4, would strictly be affected by an agreement. So, out of all of them. So, are you saying that what we ought to do is put it all in one pot and divvy it up amongst all of them? Because, I mean, they all work together. I don't know.
Well, that's, I think
we can work out later.
Well, I think that's, I mean, I'm gonna put it to them almost in the sense that at the outset, that's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think it's up, I really think it is up to them collectively, because only thing that we could do is say to, you know, the solar provider who's in that area, that you're in, you know, these 3 fire districts, you're in this zone, you're in this special district or whatever, and, you know, whatever you wanna do with them is, we can fold it into our pilot agreement, or you can make your own, but, you know, this is where that comes in. And probably the sensitive thing is that what's the bargaining position of the parties at that point? I mean, do they have the wherewithal to go to the solar company after the shovels in the ground and everything and say, you know, give us something? What if the answer's no? We've already got our pilot. Kind of law of the jungle. I'd say my thinking is that everybody who's a quasi-governmental agency that's going to be affected by this probably ought to be in on it.
That's why I think that probably we ought to bring Pat in on it, the emergency management director, and, you know, get her opinion, and she can kind of reach out to each of the ones that will be affected. Like I say, I'm guessing 4,
Yeah.
maybe 5 out of all of them.
Well, if you're including Circle though, you're also including Holton.
Yeah.
Well, but also they have probably a nest of mutual aid agreements.
Yes.
So it's not like, and this is, I'm assuming this is not gonna be, you know, a fire, somebody's, you know, one station, you know, one place. It'll probably be something big. So if it's something big, then, you know, you've left out maybe the city giving help or whatever. And I don't mind, I mean, it's up to them, but if they get money in or have like a central fund where they say this is our, you know, whatever, you've got, you know, training funds so that they can, all the mutual aid partners can get in on the training at the same time, and, you know, however it works, that's great. And that should be kind of a part of the response here, is that you know that if there's something that goes bad, that there's not gonna be somebody arguing about whose problem it is.
Yeah.
When the thing's going on, and whether mutual aid is appropriate at the time, because of whatever reason, and that this takes out an excuse, I suppose. So back to that, you know, I guess what are the next steps? I'm not sure. I think I wanna, because it's not in the reg, it's not gonna be in the regs, it's associated part, we've got to figure out kind of how that, I think generally I would say, I was concerned about what you call it, what you're doing. Remember, we had the discussion about different tiers. I mean, in the zoning reg itself, you're creating internal administrative tier. Meaning, it's gonna cost money to have a county person, whoever, go out there and eyeball it whenever they need to inspect, do the actual inspection. That's an administrative cost, it's a taxation cost, you're not gonna get back, so you get that in the agreement, right? That can be assessed, that as being an administrative cost. and it's not a tax, it's an administrative payment, then the second range is basically, is there other parts of this that are gonna be administrative costs, can clerk time, whatever, that's just not a direct invoice cost. That's in there too. So we've got those two, we've got decommission in the zoning regs as being a cost item. So the remaining thing is getting those resiliency funds in, getting payment for the taxes separately in that agreement. So that's just to say the dividing line here, this is like, most cases are covered. The bases that are not covered are gonna be pilot payments and resiliency funds, and that's gotta be separately. And there really isn't gonna be anything.
Well, and I guess why does the resiliency fund have to be in a separate agreement? Why can it not be mentioned in the regulations that there will be a resiliency fund for X, Y, and Z negotiated? It'll be outside the agreement, but it'll be in the agreement that says this will be negotiated, you know, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I get the distinction. I don't.
And the reason I'm saying that is because, in my opinion, unless there is a resiliency fund per se to take care of the fire districts and their expenses that they're going to be incurring, then there's no agreement as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that, I mean, the idea here is again that rubric of what is administrative and what's taxation. And what I'm saying is that the statutes I read to you in 147 kind of said, okay, if it's exempt, just take out whatever you're doing here and put it over here in this agreement and you're okay. It doesn't matter what it is, it's all over here. And then that says what you're paying is not a tax, it's not under that fight over what is tax and what is not, and whether it's legally done. I think you always have that question about payments that are under a zoning code that just says, go pay this, or pay that, or pay this. And the attachment of the administrative costs of a compliance with the zoning code strikes me as being very enmeshed in the zoning code itself, right? And I get the idea it's related, but it doesn't seem to me that that's as direct in the sense of fire preparedness. I mean, I think it is, but for it being there, it wouldn't happen. But is it really a zoning concern that, it's a kind of on a edge line. So I'm not gonna say that we're not gonna talk about it, or that's not it's possible.
I think we need to look into that more, maybe talk with Omaha County, see what they have in their regs as far as that goes. I think I've got, don't we have Lynn County's?
Iowa. Lynn County's Iowa.
Don't we have their, I think we got their regs too, I believe, we look into that, we look into that too. Reach out to our counterparts up there and see what they did for that, because I know they did talk about the resiliency fund and the fire and everything like that. So I think we need to do a little more research in that and see what we come up with.
Yeah, and that's, I think we're finding that
Scott, would you please put that door shut and don't touch it? Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is refining a bit, and we're gonna make a call eventually, but this is good.
Yeah.
You guys understand that kind of the reasoning, some of the reasoning behind where this pile of money goes and this pile of money goes is an interesting legal question, and one that we want to approach correctly from the jump.
Yep.
And we want to get the county what it deserves and what it needs. And that's the important thing.
Yes. Yes.
They will be tax-free for 10 years at least.
All right.
Let's put the list here. I guess I don't know, is Kate coming down anytime? Is she on that? Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys want to just hold off. I just want to check on status of open records requests. I don't think I have every commissioner on the record about NextEra contacts.
I believe, the planning commission.
Yeah, I got everything from everybody else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I haven't checked back in a while on that. There's also a request about this entity called J/6.
Yeah.
I haven't asked you about that. I mean, I don't have any contact with, I didn't even know who they are.
They're property owners out of Nemaha County owned property
In
in Jackson County that is projected to possibly be where the solar farm may be. I haven't seen any, we're not privy to any, leases or anything.
Have you been
We
in
don't know.
contact with, have they contacted you guys?
No.
Nope.
Okay, 'cause nobody's contacted me, and I guess we've got to acquire as the clerk's office. That's a different method. So that would be an additional request that's out there. Oh, we're covering this, let's cover that too. Because, like I said, I didn't even know who they were. So obviously I haven't gotten anything. So we just need to kind of chase down these last few things, because I don't want to say that there hasn't been contact when somebody has been contacted.
And I can't answer for Commissioner Kelly if he's been contacted by him or
Yeah, I
not.
don't know if he saw that or not yet, so we might have to why don't we just push
Yeah,
it
this is the
up?
first I've heard of J6, being even brought up.
Well,
So,
let's push that to the next meeting, and so
Okay.
we can have a.
Table it?
Yeah, and then, I don't know, if somebody just, I guess I'm sending that thing to Kate, I'll re-up to her to say, here's my count, I'm not sure where I'm at on this other things. We gotta do a new, okay, so, yeah, I think I've covered what I had on my list for now. What's going on, so I know that you may want to attorney-client privilege thing, unless you got some, Todd Luckman's coming up, okay. Attorney-client privilege, I guess we got 15 minutes until, Mr. Smith still.
Yeah, 13.
15?
13.
Huh? Well, I don't necessarily want to crush that in, so
Okay.
let's just wait until, let's just go with the other folks and then.
You want to move forward then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Smith, you are up for 3 minutes.
press your button, turn your mic on and do it.
You got your time
Is it on? Perfect.
Karen?
Good morning.
Morning.
How far down the hole do you want to drag this down? That's a serious question. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago, Mr. Kelly had those two gentlemen trespass from this building and this courthouse square? That's a federal lawsuit. And then last Monday, you guys voted to take Justin off of the agenda. That's another citing and lawsuit. And then you did it again this morning. So I'm asking you, how far down the hole do you guys want to drag this county?
We're here to listen to you, sir. So, go ahead.
You know what, it's discrimination and retaliation. You know what prior restraint is? How much are you paying this man to drag this county down the hole? You guys need to get your shit together, because federal lawsuits are coming. You guys act like you don't care. I care. I'm proud of this community, but you guys are tearing it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chance to do that now? It's just a sign-up sheet for the clerk to do the minutes. Okay, thank you.
Joyce is not here.
She's on the 10:30, so we can go ahead and do the executive session. You say you want 6, with the meeting reopened 15 minutes later in the commission room for the purpose of discussing continuing legal matters and claims of Holcomb County.
I'll second that.
And it's back here in this room.
Yes, in the commission room.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Pass.
The Jackson
It's the
County.
ministerial one.
Yeah, it's the ministerial lines, it's all the churches actually in Jackson County. We send out letters, of course, to the businesses or as the county commissioners, requesting donations for this. Some respond, some don't, as you know, in every campaign. And we do send requests to each church in the county for a specific amount of a specific food to help fill the food boxes. And then anyone, they can fill, send money, or they can purchase stuff that goes in the essentials bags. When we send out our request to the churches, we also, give them a list of essentials items that go in these bags.
I remember seeing this because I thought the Baptist church was spearheaded it.
Well, that is where they pick up their gifts.
Oh.
The Baptist church doesn't necessarily spearhead it.
Okay.
Gail Molden, who is secretary of the Baptist church, is allowed to participate. They're generous with, letting her participate. She is the treasurer.
Okay.
So that's probably why you think.
Yeah, because I was still processing, helpful numbers, and she was the one giving to me.
Right, yes.
Right.
Gail will be the one doing that.
Yeah.
And then, Guy Hedrick is president, and Stephanie Wall Brown, who is at the United Methodist Church, first one, the highway one, is vice president. And we will have election of officers, of course, coming up this month, and I am secretary.
Okay.
So I'm the one who does the dirty deeds as far as asking for money.
Ask for money, yeah.
Or food.
Did we get last year? I don't recall.
Oh, yes, you did.
Okay. Well, I know we did the library too, so.
Yes, well, you didn't, the last 2 years, you've generously given us $1,500.
Okay.
And for that, we are extremely grateful.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Trying to think what funds.
I don't know what fund came out of the.
Yeah, I don't
I
either.
think you came out of alcohol and,
Yeah, we're so restricted to that because they specifically want us to do, if it's alcohol per se, education. Because it's split up in 3 ways, but education is one of the big.
I thought you took it out of some kind of tax.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure, yeah, because the alcohol fund split up into 3, third
Yeah.
goes into general, then Parks and Rec, and then the special
Yeah.
alcohol fund.
Yeah.
And Tara just said she thinks it came out of the, general fund, so, yeah, I would make a motion
Okay.
that we donate $1,500 again to the, JCMA Christmas store, to come out of the alcohol fund, special fund, general fund.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. 1,500.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job, and I really appreciate what you do for the community.
Well, thank you. We try hard. We do fundraisers, so we can not just ask for money. But, if the check, because when anything is given to Thoughtful Giving Day is a lot of times snatched, dollar for dollar.
Yes.
And so if our check could possibly be dated Friday.
This coming Friday?
Thoughtful Giving Day, the 8th, I think.
Okay. Well, we will do what we can to try to get that done for you, okay?
Because that makes,
Yeah.
makes it
Oh,
go
yeah,
farther.
sure, yep. If it's matched, then that's perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sure.
Here's the request. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Is that the everything? Yeah. Okay, well, he's going to.
We also have a request She's on the phone. We also have a request from Royal Valley Recreational Association for $5,000. We have given them money previously, and I believe it came out of the Parks and Rec.
Yeah, now, is this for the Ball Association?
Well, it's,
That is the same,
okay.
Yeah.
they,
Okay.
you may have had the Royal Valley Rec
Yes.
Association say during that, looks like I.
Not every town has an association like that, so we have given,
To the actual parks.
yeah, yeah.
I was wondering just
different manners.
if this is their actual, request for the year. And it looks like that it is.
Yeah. And we have, in the Parks and Rec Fund, 14,000 from special alcohol tax.
So they want more this year than,
No, okay. Is there any way to look that up? Is there any way you can look it up?
I don't have access to.
Okay.
well, if we give each ball association, $2,500, I know theirs is double because we've made it.
That's right.
I would like to, make sure that if we do this, that we're gonna bump up everybody else. I don't know that right now that we can with the money in the, Parks and Rec Fund.
Sure.
So I would like to table this until we find out what we did last year and what we're gonna do
Yep.
for everybody else.
Exactly what I was thinking. Let's do that. Keith will be back and we'll gather up some more information on that. I don't think I have my recreation cities divided out.
Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so we did do $5,000 last year.
Let's go ahead and table it for one more week.
Yeah, because if we're, like I say, let's table it till next week. If we are going to do it for them, then we're gonna do it for everybody else too. So I want to make sure
Agreed.
that.
Sure. And it'll build, the fund will keep building.
And since this is in Commissioner Kelly's district, I wanna make sure that he's
Yeah.
good with it. If we do increase.
So we're gonna table this one. Yes, ma'am. This goes with it. Yeah. There you go. You wanna go over the minutes, or you go over
talk to us, Mary?
Yes.
Come on up.
Executive session. Personnel matters. For a personnel matter.
Okay.
Executive session.
How many minutes?
5.
Including attorney, commission, and yourself? Okay.
Okay,
Clerk too?
clerk to the others.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session, first personnel matters of non-elected personnel for how many minutes?
5.
5 minutes, starting at
Start at 35.
10:35.
Okay. We're in a little recess. Is that Mary?
Is Pat out with Kristie today?
Yes.
We're back in regular session, right?
No decision, no decisions.
Yes. There is the same thing we did last year with putting green lights, turn green lights on around the courthouse for veterans.
Yeah. Is it green light or red light?
Green light.
Green light, okay.
And that is
A week from today.
no, starting today.
Oh, it is.
November 4th.
Okay.
So, from November 4th to November 11th, I don't think we need a motion, but if we have a consensus that we want to light the courthouse up with green lights in honor of support of veterans, I think that would be good.
I agree.
Lights on?
I'll tell you.
I think we can somehow adjust them, I don't know how.
Yeah, they can make them any color they want to.
Yeah.
We did it last year, so I would like to have a consensus that, we do the Operation Green Light from November 4th to the 11th, which is shine a light of hope and support for veterans. Good with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll talk to, we can talk to Jerry, I guess, and get him to turn them on tonight, get the green ones going, so.
Okay. Is Pat off today?
He's with Kristie putting
Oh,
out election
that's
machines
right.
for tomorrow.
Taking out all the machines?
I know Jerry was, I just saw him out hall, but I wanted to get this done first. Maybe we can call him and have him come in and ask him if he can get those programmed for tonight through the 11th.
I don't know where she keeps those.
Okay. We can find him.
Okay.
He comes in real early and then he has a break, middle of the day break, and he comes back at night.
Well, I just saw him. It's okay, I'll go see if I can find him and,
Sure.
Tell him to do that. I'll be right back.
Okay. You want to?
Mainland Beach. I had 2 guesses, I wasn't sure. Got it wrong.
All right, Jerry's gonna get that taken care of, we'll talk half the fact comes back through and get them turned green
Okay.
for a week, so. I'll be good.
I found my phone in a second.
You say you saw nothing on the payroll register?
No,
Okay.
The only thing I caught that one time was a 20 cents differential.
Yeah, it just comes up. I was having some technical difficulties and it'll start
Nick, you wanna come up and visit, since we jumpstart a little early?
I know you have important things to do and.
Make sure that rain gauge is turned over right. Don't think it's gonna freeze.
Would you prefer I sit?
So, yeah, please up here, and we give 3 minutes to visit. You're on the agenda.
Could you hit the microphone too, in case?
Yeah.
In case the people can hear you.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate you guys, letting me address you. I want to apologize for last week. I tried to, well, when I was on the agenda last week, I tried to make it here, but I was trying to finish up harvest, and I didn't get done anyway, but I gave it a try. So today makes a better day to, is Mr. Kelly not here today?
No, he's absent.
Well, I came here to speak about the solar project, and give you my opinion. I'm sure I'm probably not the first person in the last 2 years to give you an opinion or two about this. I've come to speak in support of the project. And I want to disclose to the commissioners that I am a leaseholder with NextEra. And I spent some time reflecting upon if I was not a leaseholder, how would I feel about this project? And I've come to the conclusion that I think I would support it. And I think most of the residents in this county also support it. They're just not here vocalizing their support to you every week. I also want to talk about what came out of the Planning Commission. I think that the rules, as far as the solar project goes, need to be written in a way that most of the acres that are under contract make it into the project. If you write it too strictly, you're going to change how this project looks a lot. And certainly the restriction you're putting is as far as how far it should be from the city of Delia. Most of Delia, if we're concerned about a matter of line of sight, most of the acres to the north. And due to the low elevation of Delia, most of the panels really wouldn't even be visible from town that are under contract as contracted acres. They wouldn't be visible, I guess. But that's what we're concerned about. And I don't think we should restrict the amount of acres in any one farm that are being put to solar panels. If the acres are contracted, permit the landowner to put the panels on them. And we need to be reasonable with the setbacks as well. I think there is another consideration that the commissioners should consider. Within our county, there is a separate political boundary. And within that political boundary, if they want to put up a solar farm, I don't think they would need your permission, I think, and this is...
No, you're correct.
And if we are too restrictive, or we say no to this project, there's a very real chance, or at least a possibility, that it could just move across that line. And under that scenario, we have a lot of the burden, but none of the benefit. Much like another business that's running inside that political boundary. Earlier I said that I think most residents support this. And I think the proof in that is in Mr. Kelly's re-election. He was opposed by a candidate who ran on a single issue. And he won quite handily. So it suggests to me that the people of that district are in support of this project. I'm a farmer and I harvest the sunshine. I do it with wheat, I do it with corn, I do it with soybeans. And I guess this project permits me the opportunity to harvest it all year round, not just during the growing season. I think it should be within my privilege as a landowner to harvest it however I wish. So I know you guys have had a lot of headache with this issue and feel bad for you.
Well,
Appreciate it.
we hired on board, and I think that, the setbacks from around the city is the reason we are looking at that, is to not hinder growth in the cities. And I know that might seem like kind of we're trying to look out to the future is what we're trying to do. I spoke with Rachel, earlier and conveyed to her when she had questioned that also. That's not set in stone. We're still going over everything and looking at it, and when it goes to the planning commission, they can change whatever they want in that, and then it'll come back to us, and it's gonna be kind of a, probably back and forth a little bit, you know, we might sit down with them, see if we can just hammer out some things, if there's some big, huge, you know, glaring things that come out of that. As far as limiting the number of acres on per farm, I don't.
Is there any?
No, what we're looking at and what we put in there is, limiting the total number of acres in Jackson County for a solar project, 2,000 acres. That's, we've looked at that, and I think that we're pretty much set on that.
And I think to be clear about that, the real restriction is that under the current draft would be that we can't have far-flung systems, meaning we can't have 60 acres here and then a mile away another 60 acres. We want to have it somewhat in a cohesive zone. So, but like the commission said, these are the drafts, so I encourage everybody who has input on any part of the setbacks or distances or any of those variables to continue to discuss, come here and discuss with your commissioner about what you want, what you think ought to happen.
And have you got a copy of the second copy of the draft?
No, I think I said the first one, I believe. I have a copy now. I haven't looked over it in
Okay.
great detail.
Well, I was gonna say there, you know, if you want one, we can get you one, because, you know, they're available, and like I said, it's fluid, it's not set in stone. Our job up here is not, our job, the planning commission's job, is not to write regulations for any one entity. Our job is to protect the county, protect the citizens, and that's what we're kind of trying to do, that's what we're trying to do. And that's why I say this is ever fluid, it's until it's passed, until, you know, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, it's gonna be changing every time we talk about it. So, I do appreciate your comments, I think that, I think they were well thought out, and like I said, I do appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing this.
And I have read recently, there's a projection that folks are saying it's 5,000 acres, it's this, it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
what
I don't
people
know
look
any of
at.
that stuff because I'm not on Facebook, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, appreciate it, Nick.
I looked over that form letter for Giant in support of the broadband initiative, and I think it's acceptable. If you guys are satisfied that it's factually correct about the need in the county for good broadband access, then it
Yes.
seems to me to be a valid thing to put out. So
Okay. I think we'll probably wait till Keith gets back, let him take a look at it too, and then sign it next week.
Yeah, because I think it's slated for next year,
Yes.
so I think we've got plenty of time.
I haven't seen anything new from him.
Okay.
Did you have anything else?
Nope.
We were on to go over, or?
I think I'm good for now. I'm just going to see Mary and get on my merry way.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
at 11:30, we can get him in, cause I know you all have major
Yeah,
duties
you have.
to deal with. Yeah, that's fine, cause
Yeah,
Kristie mentioned that.
see if you can squeeze it in.
Sure. Be happy to accommodate.
Between now and noon.
I don't even know if he's here, cause I'm way up.
I wanna know a range out how the old lake's doing now.
Yeah. I've had 380 out now.
Four
Since it started.
straight east. Yeah. I mean, but our crops are out, so we need more growth.
He's going to town for that.
Say it again.
You had mentioned he was going out of town for a wedding this week.
Okay. I mean, I can't imagine there's not a whole lot going on. Cause his year's really winding down.
Yeah.
What does he say?
Dude, if we could get a copy of that letter, we could sign it.
On
Today.
Tuesday.
Which letter?
That's right, the commitment for Johnny.
Yeah, let's wait until Keith gets back and take a look
Yeah,
at
that's
that.
good.
Now, I did include you on that email that I sent to Chapley. I had included you too, so you can take a look at that. All right, see you later.
You bet. See
Thank
ya.
you.
Okay. Okay, it was
Yeah, did you see it?
her phone conversation? Yeah, that was.
I attached that spreadsheet that I was working on the other day.
Okay. What opens up today, was it Mayetta that opened up? Or is that tomorrow?
What's that?
Mayetta? Where's Kristie at?
Oh, she's putting out voting machines around all
Right.
precincts.
Okay, so Mayetta's, Circleville,
Every place.
Soldier,
Delia,
Delia.
yep, every place.
He says he doesn't have anything really.
If he doesn't have anything, then he can call.
Call me, tell him that Benjamin's still never great.
Yeah.
How's the lake?
How's the lake? I think the city does that though, you know, I think out through the,
But I think he'll.
wholesaling team.
Yeah, I think he'll let him know what it is too,
Yeah.
so.
There's a lot of it, good runoff. I got a spam.
He hasn't measured yet.
Haven't measured yet? All right.
Connie get her books?
Not yet,
I can't hear you.
not yet.
Okay, thank you.
I have not seen her.
I've been distributing them to daycares and decaf.
need an umbrella.
I'm a man.
There you go. If you notice, I didn't write 500, right?
You're not a man.
I'm smart. How you doing?
I'm moderately well.
Good.
Can't be great all the time. Everybody here vote?
Can do it tomorrow.
I did mine last week.
I saw Johan and his mom, that he came back to vote
Today?
last week.
I raised my kids to vote.
There you go.
Haven't missed one since I started.
I think the first person I ever voted for was in 1984.
Yeah, 10 years before you. I'm just barely 18.
Awfully darn quiet in here, what's up?
Busy, busy, busy.
No, just, wrapping up things happen early. school like Gradesville.
My daughter has a basketball game that night,
How old's your daughter?
7th grade.
Oh, really? I hope it's not out there, because there'll be a whole slug of kids out there.
It will be, but it's at the high school.
Oh, well, that's where we were at, no, Gradesville. I got them confused. The first part's Gradesville, the other part in the back's high school. Or the,
It's pre-K through 6th grade in one building, and it's 7th grade to 12th grade in the other building.
okay, this is the building to the clear east, that's Gradesville?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
One change that I would like to see in the minutes is, 11:37, I made a motion to reschedule evening meeting. The reason being is for the election
Okay.
the next day, so I'd like to put that in there.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't see anything, did you?
Yep, might as well leave it.
So I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 28th with correction.
I'll second that. Any discussion, further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And no opposed. You're on mental health board, aren't you? Kansas Mental Health.
Nope,
You're not.
we don't have anybody on there.
Yeah, she probably won't be in for another 4 or 5 months.
Who's that?
Jackie.
She's no longer with them.
Oh, she's not? I
She
didn't know
moved on
that.
to somewhere else, that's right,
Oh.
yeah.
Who's in charge of it?
I have no idea.
She's an RN, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, Jackie is no longer with them.
I did not know that.
I'm trying to think who told me that.
Well, she was here, I guess, in June.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also found out by asking, the 3 youth that were transferred to Lawrence Youth Center are not there anymore. They were released. And in Topeka, I did some inquiring. Topeka Youth Center, they charge, you know how much they charge a day? $250 per client. Rack up some bucks there, you know.
we're going to go ahead and adjourn now.